I wish good things to you who is watching this. I am Alexey, and this is the second and final day of the 2025 European Team Carcassonne Online Championship. In about 6 hours, we're going to find out the strongest Carcassonne force on this continent. In about 5 minutes, the quarterfinals between Poland and the United Kingdom are starting. So in the next 5 minutes, let's do a bit recap of yesterday and a preview of today. So yesterday, 19 competed in 4 groups of 4 to 5 teams. Belgium and United Kingdom came on top of Group D. Admittedly, they had a slightly easier task because they had one fewer game to play with one fewer team in the group. However, eliminating Spain was certainly a bit of a surprise. And now the United Kingdom are going to have to face Poland, who largely had a smooth sailing. As you can see, they're only they're ahead in the group. They have a slightly better tiebreaker than the Czech Republic, but actually Poland won their first 3 games, and so 3 matches, and so they had already secured the win in Group C pretty early on. Ukraine atop of Group A. So no huge surprises there. Of course, Group B was very tight, eliminating my own team as well. But we'll get to Group B a little bit later. So the lineups for today are pretty interesting. On table 1, Tomaszek is playing against Ishan Malhotra. That is the player with screen name Old Cake, who it was one of the first, if not the first, British master, maybe the second British master overall ever. So the second person to ever achieve that title. Very fast player, very focused, very aggressive when it comes to scoring quick points and stuff. So very entertaining style to watch. They also happen to be the 2016, if I'm not mistaken, National Scrabble Champion of India. So a wide variety of talents. And rating-wise, I would expect Tomasz to be the favorite, but if we look at the peak rating, then Ishan's rating is actually a little bit higher, so that could be an interesting table. On table 2, the 2021 world champion Maciej Polak, with a screen name Terran PL, is going to be, I'm going to say, favorite against Chris Tucker, the 2024 champion of the United Kingdom, with the screen name Fanatical Lime. And on table 3, again, another Polish superstar, UI Skuti. That is, of course, the 2017 world champion, Tomasz Preuss. Will be playing against a player who is completely new to me, OJH1997, suggesting that they might be 28 years old. I'm not sure how else we can interpret those numbers in their screen name. So it will be quite curious to look at them, but I would expect, simply looking at the ratings and the experience, for the Polish world champion to be the favorite there. On table 4, and this will be our featured duel, we have an absolute banger, like Carcassonne at the highest level as it gets. The third Polish superstar, Mateusz Pozlewicz, the former Polish captain at the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship earlier this year with the screen name MTU, is going to be playing against the 2023 world champion Matt Tucker with the screen name StatMatt. That is also the brother of Chris Tucker. As you can see, quite similar ratings, and of course only Matt in this duo has ever been the world champion, but the level of play of MTU is certainly approaching top tier as well. And finally, on table 5, the player with the screen name Great Def is going to be playing against another Matt in the team UK with the screen name Lazyboar. And I don't know what quite to expect of that one. I guess if we look at just the ratings, then the Polish player would be the favorite, but they have no prior history, as you can see. In fact, it is only on table 4 where there is any prior history, MTU having won one more game compared to Matt. So that's it, preview done. I think we're quite efficient. Yeah, so maybe one small thing that we can look is just if you have a quick glance at the other 3 quarterfinal matches that are going on. And we'll do a brief recap of them in the break between the quarterfinals and the semifinals. So the game should be starting any minute. I'm going to be refreshing the page, and there we go. Oh no, there we don't go. What is that about? That's just interesting. Okay, let me try again. Huh. Alright, we will probably need to wait a couple more minutes. Oh, lots of stuff in the chat to catch up. So hi Helge, hi Luboš, hi Pavel, hi MTU, good luck in the games. Luboš is asking where to watch Czech Republic. So my fellow YouTuber Wisemaze, Yzemaze, is streaming that match as it is happening at the same time. So if you want to root for Czechia, you can watch that channel. Okay, this is pretty interesting. Maybe we can start with another duel. I'm quite... Yeah, so they're already playing. No, maybe not that one. Let's start with table 5, just because... Just because I'm not that very well familiar with the players. I mean, I am familiar with the players, actually. I've played both of them before, but I don't know what exactly to expect. In terms of the outcome, hi Mache. So what are we having here? Lazy Boris playing the yellow meeples, great depth with red to match the color of the national flag, which I always appreciate. An early farmer is here for red. A very brisk pace game. And I'm gonna just see real quick if Mats is starting his. Okay, finally. Let me just actually close that tab for a second, because this is the original plan. So this position is looking very good for Matt, who is playing his traditional yellow meeples, 6 of them still in hand and 12 points, and the starting player advantage has already been added to his assets. Yeah, these 2 cities were completed by yellow. MTU again to match the color of the national flag, playing red. A 4-point monastery, 1-point city. So definitely behind a little bit, not criminal. It's always nice to have the first monastery here. There's another road for another spot for a regular monastery, another spot for a road monastery, and so on and so on. Matt is starting with the road, and MTU is now dropping the farmer whilst continuing his city. And it took me about 2 years of streaming games of this player to realize that this is actually a battle of Mats, because obviously Mateusz is also a variation on the name Matthew. So an even more principled duel. Alright, let's So what are we having? Matt is having his city broken by Mateusz. Now, not likely to be completed anytime soon. So probably if I'm yellow here, I don't really bother with that tile. Yeah, I guess you could add it here. Maybe it's not that bad. And then try to build like this, like this, like this, like this. Or your opponent might be forced to equalize that city. So if you go here, then they probably have to invest in meeple by going here with the city tile. And then, since our fates are going to be tied, we don't have to worry about this. But Matt finds something better. This is actually a very annoying block against this here monastery. There are only 2 tiles remaining. And on top of that, it kind of curtails the potential of this here field. Red finishes yellow's road, but it is done with 2 purposes. First of all, he shortens that road so that he's going to score 3 instead of 4 points, and he gets 2 points of himself for compensation, and he also drops a city cap in his field. Matt is probably going to go for a counter farmer somewhere here at the top. I cannot imagine him making this move without dropping a yellow meeple on the ground. This is precisely correct, because had he not done this, then Mateusz could have gone here and kind of start building 2 fields with 2 meeples. It's always very dangerous. So as 8-point city happens, we're even on the scoreboard. Thank you for letting me know. Helga, do let me know if the background noise became better. Unfortunately, an issue which is easy to fix, but not easy to detect on my end. So, an interesting move. No. I'm so surprised. So, Matt is taking 2 points, but he allows, potentially, MTU to go here, finish the city, and drop a farmer. This is unlike Matt. He tends to like sacrificing points for positional gains. And I thought that this would be exactly the time to do that, right? You really don't want your opponent to finish the city and drop a farmer, but it happens anyway. Well, at least he doesn't finish the city. But a farmer is here nonetheless. Matt, of course, is trying to block. This is actually quite annoying to deal with. Red is now scoring 2 points here, also restricting this here square a little bit. Only 1 tile that remains to fit there, so this is not ideal for Matthew, who now takes 4 points and advances his scoreboard lead. This also creates a field attacking platform for yellow to potentially penetrate this 12-point field. In the meantime, the city at the north is being finished for 10 points, and another red farmer is being dropped. And actually, fending off these 2 farmers are going to be quite difficult for yellow, because there are 2 possibilities. Possibility number 1, we go over here with one of the 3 remaining daggers, and then get something like a straight line in a road, and so we go that route with both meeples. If this here were to get blocked, then we have the possibility of drawing a curve or a crossroads if the square is restricted, and then go that way. So this is an interesting pattern with these kind of closely related farmers, even though it requires multiple tiles, well, at least 2 tiles to get both of them in the field. Because there's this here connection available, it's very, very difficult to stop them in either directions. And in fact, what I expect from Matt is that he is not even going to bother trying to block any of the squares. And look at this. So Matt blocks fully Mateusz's monastery, right? Starting a new city and wanting to finish it and drop a farmer. But immediately, MTU knows his priorities. He's not going to connect to the field just yet. He wants, of course, to block this here city, to not allow yellow finish it and drop a farmer. A monastery for MTU, whilst Matt builds up his city at the bottom. Yellow continues his city at the top, which is the strongest move. I mean, it's a shielded tile. There's plenty ways to develop the city further, and most importantly, this square is now taken care of, so the only way how red can enter the field is by prolonging Matt's road, which he probably is going to do anyway. But knowing MTU, he likes to be very efficient, and sometimes extremely so, and sometimes efficient too much. And so what I expect red to do is to go here and then here, and only then, if possible, connect to the field. Like, this would be his ideal option, that when he completes that square, that he would also be completing his entire monastery. The issue with that, of course, is that it could delay the entry of these two farmers into the field, and it's entirely possible that Matt might build up some barricades. Yeah, and this is exactly what he's trying to do. So he wants to just block this square. How exactly he's going to do it, I have no idea, because it's not physically possible. So maybe the idea is that he simply gets to continue his road indirectly. And maybe if he goes here, and then like here, he's going to try and restrict that square. I think this move was made by Matt simply for lack of a better move. Also, one interesting thing that happened here with this here tile, so 2 quick points were taken by MTU, but the main purpose was not just 2 quick points. It actually very nicely protects this here field, at least one of the connection platforms. So the only way how Matt can reliably penetrate that 12-point field is, first of all, he needs to draw a city plus field tile to go on this here little patch of green. And then he needs to draw another city plus field tile of the same kind to go over here and connect. We can see that Matt is sort of kind of blocking his road. I think the idea is that if MTU were to go here and complete this here connection, then Matt would immediately get a meeple back. You know, this is actually very smart, because it is not guaranteed that MTU is going to get a meeple back. Because you see there's this here monastery-shaped spot, which looks absolutely amazing for a red. But a lot of that depends on the timing of the tiles. So there are 3 monasteries remaining, and there are only 2 crossroads remaining. And so it means that it is more likely that a monastery is going to be drawn before a crossroads. But imagine if red draws a monastery. Does red actually go here and meeple that monastery if that so happens? Maybe if he wants to be super efficient, but then with only 2 tiles remaining that fit into this square, he'll risks losing 2 meeples and a fields connection. So he would be like super reliant on drawing one of the crossroads for sure. So we will witness this dilemma a little bit later, as a few defensive / blocking moves have been made whilst I was talking about the situation. This move by Matt, I understand, but I don't agree with it. I think, like, trying to block this square is just a little bit too much. Yeah, I think Matt missed an opportunity. He played too quickly, which honestly, I think is the first time in my life when I'm saying this about StatMat. I think the move that he should have played, if he wants to take care about the field, is this one over here. To try and separate these here 2 meeples, and then start thinking about blocking. Now, this here farmer, of course, is very good. It has reasonable chances of entering the field, but not now, as both sides are building cities. Matt's still a little bit ahead on the scoreboard. MTU now catches up. So very even game so far. In this position, I probably prefer red, because yellow is actually kind of running out of tiles that fit into this square. There are only 2 of those. And yeah, red's field situation is very good. But there's a lot of volatility on this board, and I think if I'm Matt, I actually want to spice it up. I like going here and dropping a farmer, relying on the 75% chance of drawing a road monastery. Maybe it's a bit too risky, some would say, but I think in this position you really don't get much better than that. And again, even if the scoreboard is equal, these here monasteries, like this here farm, MTU is in a very good position, whereas Matt needs a lot of specific tiles if he wants to consolidate. So I think something like this would be warranted. Not sure exactly what else you can do here. This also is an interesting platform. Maybe it's possible. Ooh, I know. Check this out. So somebody's going to get a city cap. Go over here. Drop a farmer. Then they're going to get a second city cap. Connect to the field. And grab a 10-point city along the way. I think it's something that yellow should be on the lookout for. The problem for them is that they don't have meeples for this stuff. But whatever. And actually, even field connections aside, given the fact that there are 2 vanillas, so just building a 10-point city like this is absolutely something to look into. D-Quinn is asking, did Latvia take part in the European Team Championship? Yes, we did. We got busted yesterday. It was actually quite close. So we lost against Romania 3-2. We lost against Hungary 3-2, but like on the penultimate move. We won against Germany 3-2, and then our final match we sort of predictably lost. But I think even if we had won, because Hungary won against Romania, then we would have not qualified either way. So we just had to win many more matches to do that. It was an enjoyable championship overall. Yeah, look at this. MTU is now building a city. And this is something that Matt should be scared about. You know what? Actually, what Matt could have done, I'm not sure if that was the best move or not. I think this here city made a lot of sense. But with this here tile, he could have done the same thing as MTU, but like this. And then just trying to score a city over here. But Matt figured that he doesn't really want to do things which require the investment of a meeple for any prolonged period of time. Oh, well, this is an exceptionally interesting situation here. So, a strong move by MTU, trying to both protect his monastery square and then to try and block this here yellow guy. Matt is running short on time, so it's quite difficult to calculate this. Yeah, and I like this move very much. So he basically kisses this meeple goodbye because he has a 50-50 shot of finishing this here city. And even having one high impact tile already means a lot. So MTU now with a big dilemma. Exactly the kind that I was talking about to you 20 moves ago. So do you go here for 7 points with your last meeple or not? Because, I mean, you could draw crossroads. And then you could get a curve or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still one curve remaining. But then you would be remaining without a meeple for a long time. On the other hand, maybe you don't need a meeple that badly. Like you have tiles here that can give you some recovery. Now that I think about this, the move that I play is probably this without a meeple. But, of course, MTU is exactly the type of person that is going to provide us content moves. So it's not wrong, it's just a very high variance approach. And the reason why I probably want to not place a meeple there is because there are quick point tiles that I might need for scoring elsewhere. I particularly thinking of this here tile, like not a starting tile, but anything that scores me 4 points over here. On the other hand, I mean, 7 points is actually quite a lot. So it could be fair judgment from red that these 7 points outweigh anything that he could score with quick points in the process. Now red is thinking, as Matt really made the only reasonable move of trying to go over here. And I see what red is thinking about. So my first instinct is, come on, man, what are you thinking about? This tile belongs over here. This is the last Dorito. You have to fill your square. But it is not crazy from the perspective of red to go over here and just simply block this city. I don't think it is correct, because there's only one reasonable tile to fit over here, the starting tile, like this. There's, of course, also the rose, like this, but we already know that the rose belongs to this city, so it's not going to be used by Matt over here. And I don't think there's such huge value in trying to prevent this here thing. And I'm also going to explain how that works a little bit later in a second. So I think as MTU I go over here, there is still a lot of city caps to fit into this square. There's vanillas, there's a splitter, like, it's just amazing. So I hope that he prioritizes correctly and goes here, because that city could mean quite a lot. And also, if he goes here, and if he finishes the city, then his field will be fairly secure. And Matt is going to get his city back, and quite a sizable lead on the scoreboard now. MTU now gets a tile, which I think he misses. Yeah, he had an option to do something productive. He could have gone here. I think this was a little bit better. Well, anyway, MTU gets a meeple back. He connects to the field. Matt's now kind of desperately needs a monastery in order to overrun the field. So currently Red has the majority here for 4 completed cities and 12 points. But if Matt gets the monastery, he's going to go with these 2 meeples and have the majority himself for 15 points. So this move is like a 21-point swing overall. So it's a tile that's his worth 21 points. And the players are even money to get it. So MTU's gamble pays off. In the meantime, he gets a meeple back. I think ideally what he would have wanted, and why I actually didn't like blocking this city, ideally he would have wanted to finish the city first with a splitter, and then to drop a farmer here as well. And the idea is that if Matt finishes this here city, then this hypothetical red farmer goes into this field. But of course it wasn't possible for MTU. It will only be possible if he draws the last curve, and then goes here, and then drops a farmer like this. Wow, that's actually a really nice move by Matt. Taking 4 points, and now MTU is going to drop a farmer. Oh, so he goes for the road. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Should have gone for the farmer, I think. Yeah, so the idea is the same, that he gets this insurance, right? But the field is just so much more important. Because you see, now Matt finishes the city anyway, and these 6 points are nice, but this road is not really going anywhere. That is the issue that I'm having with this. And I don't have a good idea of how MTU is exactly going to win this. I mean, you know, these fields are amazing, don't get me wrong. But then if Matt gets a monastery, they'll stop being amazing. Yeah, you know, here's the thing, like, with a farmer here, and farmer being connected to this here place, then the monastery is just not going to be worth that much. And Matt's only way to win, it seems to me, is to draw the monastery, because he has the 17 points on the scoreboard, but it's not enough. Like, Red has way more stuff on the board. So at the moment, Red has 27 points for fields alone, whereas Yellow has only 9 over here. So just with fields, MTU is compensating the difference, and then his meeples are just amazingly invested. So look, 8 points over here, and then 7 points over here, and still a threat to finish a city. Huh. Yeah, and it seems to me that like these 6 points just don't do that much for Yellow's winning probability, so Perhaps a deliberate idea by red, perhaps simply just overlooking that farming possibility. But let's see what they do with this straight line, because it could be quite interesting. So my first instinct is to just go for the field to do something like this, and the idea if our opponent gets the road monastery, we can get the field monastery to reconnect. Another way how I'm trying to think about this is there a way how we can win without the field? So maybe if our opponent gets the monastery and we just get one of the remaining city caps, which is either the dagger or the vanilla or the splitter. So 3 options we have, which is very, very nice. Or you know what we could do? We could drop a farmer here for 0 points, and I think it could be very strong. Even though it is blockable, Matt might not have time for this sort of stuff. There's still a crossroads to connect, and there's still a crossroads to connect. MTU now, of course, gets his city, and the idea now, if we had farmers like this, then Matt would not have been able now to go over here, which he's gonna do probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think so. Because if he goes now here, he could still connect to the bottom field, actually, with the one remaining road Dorito. Yeah, so this is why I would have preferred MTU to have dropped the farmer here rather than here. It's not just to try and invade this here field one more time, it's actually more to protect the other field. I don't really expect Matt to do nothing much else. Well, it depends. Some equity moves include going here, like taking a road, then trying to get the last one of the last 2 remaining straight lines, and go here and drop a farmer for 6 points. But I think it's just not enough. Yeah, so MTU gets the monastery, which is amazing for him. It's actually going to pretty much seal the deal. So he's going to go here now and take 2 points. I think that is the most annoying thing that he can do. Because these 2 points, they will also block the entry of this here farmer in the field. So red will preserve the majority, and it's amazing. It's 18 points. It's just gigantic. The reason why I want to go here so urgently and not take these 4 points and not finish my road and start a new monastery is because of the 2 remaining straight lines. So Matt just has way, way, way too easy tiles that can score him, like, what, 15 points extra. Well, I don't think it's such a good idea, but maybe it doesn't matter that much. Well, it's a 9-point move, I guess. He can't be wrong, right? It's a 9-point move. But Matt now successfully connects to the field, and MTU now is going to reconnect, probably, because this will make his field even bigger. So we see now the fields are tied, 2 versus 2. This guy has 15 points here alone, incredible efficiency. But if he goes over here, this guy is going to score 21 points by adding these 2 cities. The one thing that he has to worry about is, can Matt reinvade the field on his last move? And the answer could be no. I didn't quite keep track of all the tiles. What I do know that there's a splitter, there's a vanilla, and there's a straight line. This is my best estimate. And I think this is actually correct, yeah. And with these tiles, it's not possible to invade the field. So here's the splitter in Matt's hand. The two remaining tiles should be a vanilla city cap and a straight line. The cap is drawn by MTU, who cannot do anything productive with it, just add 3 points to a shared field. Straight line by Matt. To score 6 points on the farm should not be enough due to a giant 21-point farm by MTU. Look at this beautiful farmer. He was so efficient throughout the game. Again, one of those cases that whoever drops the farmer first wins. Honestly, like the big secret of Carcassonne. Very often, then these here two farmers, despite being separated by this tile, reunited through the center completely, abusing this yellow agricultural professional. And Matt's kind of getting unlucky with monasteries, really. And losing by 16 points. So, Mateusz 1, Matthew 0. Well, actually, I'm not sure if he I'm not sure if he even goes ever by Matthew. Like, it is entirely possible that Matt could be his full name. So, StatMat is the starting player yet again. Will he have such a good start again? And he gets the 4 points. He will have the statistical advantage. He's now going to equalize the road of MTU, so looking good for yellow. Ooh, he's not going to do that. That's pretty interesting. And he drops an incredibly early farmer, which suits his style very well. I think this is extra. Like, there are some scenarios, like here, with 2 straight lines, this farmer just perishes. But there was this game that I had against Matt at the 2022 United Kingdom National Championships in the semi-final, where he dropped like a super emboxed 3-point farmer early on, and then just somehow with curves, with road monasteries, that field kept slightly growing, like through a lot of pain and effort, and ended up being 12 points and the most valuable feature on the board. And I also lost that game. So let's see if something similar like this happens. But overall, now it looks like we're headed into a position which suits Matt's style a little bit better. You know, those tight, closed position with a lot of mini battles. Yeah, look at that move. Like, this is already very, very non-standard, and I think it's also a bit extra. But I can understand him. Like, now when he's dropped an early farmer, he wants to get a city cap in his field. He wants to restrict this here meeple, and he wants to even have the prospect. Oh, I think missed chance by Matt. I think he should have done something like this to try and block this here red guy, and then use this one remaining red square to advance his interest. Also, with 2 road monasteries remaining, somebody's going to go over here, and this farmer is going to expand. But yellow has a different idea. He starts a new city, and he also wants to get a road and try and block this here guy or restrict it further. The only big issue for it, even though it ends up being super successful again, the only big issue with a move like this is that with a simple curve, red could have gone over here, defended the square, and also pre-built a 4-point road for himself. Yeah, look at Mateusz now trying to restrict Matt Farmer over here. Still one green square available for it. Yellow makes the only legal move that doesn't disrupt his own city. This, of course, would have been horrible because this meeple gets blocked like this towards the square with one move. And that is an incredibly annoying move from red. It does everything. It continues the city, it prevents it from blocking, it now covers it up. Now the city is an actual threat to be completed for like 16 points in the next few turns. And to rub it in, it also closes down the field while scoring a long road. So MTU's idea is to go here, here, here. But I guess it won't do that much, because once this tile here is placed, then this yellow meeple will actually get some life and more green squares. This is not to say that red shouldn't keep trying. Matt, in the meantime, meeple's monastery has an 8 points lead in the scoreboard. Red is developing his city. In the meantime, I see some suggestions in the chat about the previous game. I saw them, but it was just a bit too difficult to address them duly at the time. D-Quinn is asking, how are the Latvian players chosen? I'm going to tell about this a little bit later. Yeah, there's a whole system. And each country has their own. So maybe we can do this in a break between games. Matt, in the meantime, is starting a new city. He was also trying to block Red City, but look, Red drew this dagger like straight away. And this move from Red is very, very interesting. So he's basically saying with this, I don't care about finishing his city. The only thing that I care about is eliminating this field, is the city connection platform. I don't want to allow you to join through a Dorito tile. So now there are no connection platforms, but then the city's not a real threat anymore, unless he draws one of the two remaining horse tiles soon enough. Well, let's see if that happens. In the meantime, Matt is starting a new city whilst also poking at some invasion platforms here, potentially. MTU just builds up his road, further restricting Matt's field. Another interesting decision here for yellow. Do we go over here and just finish the city and give up? Or do we finish this city instead and try and get a couple of Dorito tiles to connect here? Or do we just continue our road and try to create a permanent block against this square? Some interesting options here for the 2023 World Champion. Yeah, and well, Red just develops his road and tries to create a blocking platform, which again makes a lot of sense in the world, but MTU immediately draws a tile to get a meeple back. But now a fantastic tile for Matt. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legit moves. 4 of these moves involve meepling a monastery. So option 1 is we go here. We also control this road by red, and this is probably my favorite move, actually. Option 2 is we go here, and we not only stack monasteries, but we also kind of expand our field a little bit, because this guy's going to go here, 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 outside. I don't think it's the best choice, because then you have too many squares which are similar. And then there is not a great variety of tiles that you can use to build up your monastery eventually. Now, option 3 Yeah, Matt goes for the best move, as expected. Option 3 was to go here, just to not allow MTU do this. But then MTU has a reasonable spot here anyway, so it's not a big concern. And just stacking monasteries is almost always better. Then there was this crazy idea of equalizing Red's monastery instead and setting up Loop Road. And the craziest idea, which you might see in like 2012 being suggested as the top move, is to go here and drop a second farmer. But these days, of course, moves like these are considered losing, really. Even though they look spectacular. Math surprises me again. This is a move that makes a lot of sense, because he's also developing his field indirectly and so on and so on. So that's kind of nice. And he finishes a city, starts a new one, whilst MTU finishes a road and also pre-finishes another road. That's actually quite amazing for him. Yeah, I was thinking that Matt would maybe go here and try to invade the city. And he had 2 opportunities to do that. I wonder why he passed up both of these opportunities. Also this move. No, this move I really dislike, because it creates a monastery square next to MTU's monastery. I know that there are only 2 of those remaining, but they're so powerful. Now, if this were Dorito with the road, that would be a different question. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the world champion has some sort of plan with this. The last starting tile has been drawn, whilst yellow is building up his monastery over there. He's now probably going to do exactly this. And what did I tell you? Welp, I don't understand any of that. I don't see why you wouldn't go for a 7-point spot. I mean, I do see why you wouldn't do that. I just disagree. So if you go here as red, which I think you should go regardless, the risk is that your opponent gets a straight line, and then you're stuck here semi-blocked. There's only one of these daggers remaining, and so only a 50-50 chance to recover the meeple. But in this situation, a 50-50 chance is pretty good. And one of the reasons why I'm surprised is because generally MTU is not too precious about meeples. There was in 2024 one quite famous W2COC game where he blocked his own monastery just for the sake of scoring 3 points, and he ended up winning that game quite convincingly. So Matt scores a 5-point road, takes the lead on the scoreboard. We can see that MTU would have developed his monasteries to epic proportions, but this did not happen. And now Matt's gonna start questioning whether it's time for him to drop a second farmer, and the answer is maybe. An interesting move is also try the Ukrainian technique over here, kind of meepling a 1-point city, but for a variety of reasons this is not the position to be doing stuff like this. Ideally as Matt, you want to draw something like a curve, like you want to go over here, and you want to block this square. You want to restrict it towards one of the 4 monasteries, which are all on the board. This move also makes some sense, trying to block this road. Whilst MTU has drawn the horse that I was talking about 20 moves ago, and this city is now an actual threat. Morning, Ian. So what do we do with the straight line? I feel like eventually we're going to have to go here. And it could be now, could be later. Maybe later there's still plenty of straight lines to go around. But the idea is that we're forced as yellow to continue red's road just to get this yellow farmer into the green pastures with so much prospects. Yeah, this move makes a lot of sense, but it is a bit double-edged. Because MTU, being as creative as he is, he protects this hole. This is very, very nice. Setting up a 5-point road for himself near his monastery. This is very, very nice. Now, probably Matt might consider the Ukrainian technique here. Just taking out that city cap. But I was thinking that, in theory, MTU could do something like this. Not necessarily with this tile, but later. And try to restrict the square towards the final road monastery. Yeah. 4 points are being scored here by Mateusz. This actually looks exceptionally grim for Matt. Like, exceptionally. At least he gets the 5 points. But Mateusz is about to get a meeple back in a huge counter field. Maybe not right now. I'm very curious to see how Red plays this out. Something like this with a farmer is not the craziest idea. I mean, it is crazy, but it is still below the threshold of what MTU would consider crazy. Maybe just finishing the city is an option here. Maybe just doing the good old Mochizuki maneuver, scoring 3 points over here and restricting the square to the 3 remaining curves, and then hoping in the future to get the city cap and block this here square permanently. That's also an option. This here move is nice because it also threatens a permanent block on Matt. Let's say we finish the city, then we get any road tile, we go over here, we restrict this square toward the starting tile, and all 4 starting tiles are already on the board, as I mentioned earlier. Nalaham is saying, I have a feeling the red road meeple is going to remain there until, like, the last 5 tiles in the game. Yes, I have such a feeling too. This is what usually happens. Matt with an unimaginable dilemma here. Well, actually, no, it's pretty imaginable. So, the first instinct for any player is to go here and score 2 points and protect your city. But this is not where your priority should be. Your opponent is threatening to get 4 points for the city and 2 monastery meeples back, and I think it was way more important to go here and block these 2 monasteries. And now Mateusz will be smelling blood, and he will be going over here, and he will be probably dropping a farmer. I'm surprised if he does anything else. The reason why I think Matt should not have been so precious about his meeple is because going over here, it kills off 2 of your opponent's meeples. Like, it's such a strong move. And that would be a permanent block. And I have a suspicion that maybe some tile counting was the issue. So Matt blocks the road of MTU, which makes a lot of sense. And then when he gets a straight line, he'll be able to continue Red's road and invade what has now become MTU's field rather than a neutral field. Without giving Red this road back. Yeah, Matt is now in dire straits. So what are some possible moves? Option 1, we could go here, start a city, get a city cap, drop a farmer, get a field majority. It doesn't work too often because our opponent could simply get a curve and then we would have 2 meeples restricted towards the same city plus road tile. Option 2, we just get the monastery back. There are not that many tiles that remaining to this square, and although I hate using shielded tiles for purposes like this, the extra meeples certainly won't hurt. The third option, and probably my preferred option, is to go over here and just invade this big city. There are still a whopping 3 tiles, 3 horse tiles that fit over here to complete the invasion. The city is pretty big. It's like upwards of 10 points. In fact, 10 points exactly, and Matt does this. And another hugely important consideration is the fact that the tiles that Matt is going to need to connect, Matt doesn't need anywhere. And so with this, he not only creates a thread, but he creates for himself a way to use tiles which normally would be unusable. Mateusz now has a curve. Variety of options available to him. My favorite move is probably going over here, getting 1 point, and setting up the coin flip for Road Monastery, which is immensely impactful here. Option 2 is to do something with this area, like go over here. It's very, very extravagant, but if MTU pulls the Road Monastery, it could be quite effective. I don't really see any other reasonable options. He could, I guess, do something like this. But honestly, this meeple is really not that dangerous at all. StatMat's in his usual time trouble. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. MTU can probably think here for a little bit longer. Yeah, for a position this complex, it's really not a lot of time. Oh, but finally Matt actually gets a useful tile, and he's going to try and get a meeple back for 8 points. MTU now pre-build his monastery spot even further a little bit. Matt connects to the field whilst prolonging Mateusz's road. Mateusz with another blocking move, which is incredibly annoying to deal with, forgoes points just to take away some city cap options, and he does so very quickly. Well, actually, it's really, really strong, but Matt gets the crucial tile. Now, it's a big question as to which city he finishes. He finishes the one which gives him most points. I would have considered finishing the other one for a couple of reasons, but that's okay. MTU now with a hugely important tile. He's going to get himself, not 4 points, but he's going to get himself a 9-point field. And finish 2 monasteries, and this is just amazing. And this is why as Matt, I would have used that fateful crossroads over here to try and block this opportunity. So, what happening? We're now -7. And we're also losing a field. But we have 2 monasteries, so that's nice. Overall, we are around like -9, -10, -8 in that area. -11, something like this. I don't know the precise score, but it's something like this. And Matt starts by just scoring, which makes a lot of sense. And I think his win condition will have to do something with one or both of the fields. What does Mateusz do here? Well, he could block the field somehow. Or maybe, you know what? He could go here. You know why this would be a good move? Because Matt is behind, and Matt has the starting player advantage, so he's going to be getting the better probabilities towards the end. And so from MTU's perspective, Matt is slightly more likely than him. I forgot how exactly it was. Yeah, 5/9, basically. So there's a 5/9 chance that StatMat is going to get the Road Monastery. And so, as red, we should be assumed that we're not going to get the Road Monastery. And we want to make sure that we can still survive our opponent getting the Road Monastery. And the only way how we don't survive it, if Matt first gets a road, drops a farmer here, and then invades the field through a Road Monastery and scores the extra points, and then wins like +15. And this threat is so looming that I would have even considered, as Matt, instead of these 3 points, just going for this idea anyway. Actually scratch that, I think it's a good move. Ideally what you want to do here as yellow is take a road tile and a road tile only, so that after dropping a farmer, you don't give a field reconnection opportunity over here. There is also another field invasion spot like this through one of the 3 remaining straight lines. And so MTU could block that spot in theory, but I think he shouldn't. I think it's good to have 2 invasion spots, because let's say if Matt drops a farmer here, then MTU can drop a farmer here. And I think it's not like quite the move to be playing. I mean, he's being a bit too fancy. Matt, what are you doing? Oh, I know what Matt is doing. He's being in time trouble, but this move, it accomplishes nothing. As red, you have 2 choices. As yellow, you have 2 choices. You either drop a farmer here, or you drop a farmer here, which I think is the preferable move, but it doesn't do anything. I mean, I know, like, it would do something in the middle of the game when you want to get these meeples back, but you don't want to get those meeples back. You have 2 meeples with 7 tiles remaining. It's like an army of meeples at this stage of the game. This is what time trouble does to you. So when I comment about players' time management, typically I mean that players are playing too fast when they should be slower and thinking more. But sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes players are too slow in maybe some situations where some intuitive moves can be made so that they can save time for situations like these. Come on, Matt, drop a farmer, drop a farmer, drop a farmer, drop a farmer. Go here. Win this game, give us the chance to watch a decider. Yellow goes here, drops a monastery. Connects through the road monastery. Like, what am I missing? It's a simple idea. 58 seconds. But I think Matt is going to do it. I think he's going to do it. Because, like, okay, no! So many straight lines, so many farming opportunities could have happened. Now MTU just gets a 10-point move. He gets meeples back, and he's going to win this game with a absolutely gigantic score, something that could have been prevented with this tile run out. Matt gets himself a farmer, but it's too little too late. MTU now even has a chance to drop a farmer off his own if he so chooses. And there's really not all that much that Matt can do in this situation. Yeah, with this move he just like admits defeat. Just doesn't want to lose on time. 4 points are going to be scored by MTU for the road over here. And likewise 4 points by Matt for a completed city. So what could have he done? Yeah, I guess he could have scored himself 11 extra at the very least by invading the field up north. I don't think this quite would have cut it with this run out, but let's see what the final score is. Minus 19. Yeah, so Matt was needing the field and then some. Well, a spectacular, interesting game. Yeah, could have really gone either way. Lots of difficult decisions for both sides. Well, this farmer sort of kind of ended up being justified, although it needed to work really, really hard for its development. I think a few small decisions, maybe that one was a very, very natural move that 95% of the time uh, is going to be correct, but just preventing this here disastrous agricultural and clerical development is something that would have steered the game into a different direction. Yeah, I felt overall that like Matt's ideas were like quite interesting, but just some tactical realizations like this here city when he ended up sort of building a cushion next to Red's monasteries, whilst also in the long run hurting his own city. And maybe also these ideas, I felt that maybe Matt's play today lacked some focused plan, because he ended up kind of poking at a bit of different ideas in a variety of places, but then just ended up being stuck for quite a long time. Also, the fact that Red drew 4 monasteries and managed to meeple and complete all 4 certainly was helpful for Mateusz. Anyway, congratulations to Team Poland, at least for this crucial duel. Let's see how we're doing on other tables. I mean, you already know, but the way I typically view this, I don't show myself the score. Okay, so Poland is actually 1 game away from winning the entire match, as UI Scooty predictably won on table 3, Lazy Boar won on table 5, a hugely important point for the United Kingdom. MTU just won on table 4, so it is upon Ishan Malhotra and Chris Tucker to avenge his brother on table 2. Let's have a look at Ishan's decider, because I believe this is a closer encounter. Yeah, look at this. They, I think, are about to end. 22 minutes ago was the game start. 1 tile remaining, and looking at the scoreboard alone, Tomaszek is probably going to lead his team into the semifinals. Hi, MTU. Congratulations for the win, as usual. Yeah, and it seems to me that Black in this position doesn't really have that much compensation. I mean, we can see that Black was trying comebacks, right? So the city is almost completed. This road is now going to be completed. Probably just not enough for Ishan. But it is Yellow who has all the farmers in the world, and the scoreboard lead, and just everything in this game. Well, this Black farmer for 12 points is going to help a little bit, but overall looks like 20-ish points should be the difference. GGWP are the 4 letters which you always want to see in the chat from your opponent. Tomaszek is saying that he doesn't know the other results yet, which is a very good thing, actually, because when you play for a team, you want to be focused on your own game. In Latvia, we used to do a thing that, like, whenever we won a game, we would just, like, report it immediately. We just write in the team chat, okay, like, when my table is 0-1 or 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever. Now we just don't do that, and I think it's better. Because then, if you're the player who plays the decider, knowing that this is decider can mess you with your mind a lot. And also sometimes if I find out that my team has already won, then I just start playing worse. because the desire to just make the stress go away, to make your brain go relax mode, is too strong compared to the desire to win the individual game sometimes. So yes, 4-1 is indeed... oh, so Fanatical Lime won after all, right? No, he didn't. Oh, yes, he lost. So, Lazy Board, the other mat, sort of kind of avenged his namesake, at least on one of the tables. So the United Kingdom goes with a mini bang, goes out with a mini bang. Now, I'm not quite sure about the grid. Who is Poland playing next? Oh, by the way, yeah, of course, let's just go watch another match. The Ukraine has won against Hungary already, as predicted, 4-0, but Hungary is still going to try and get themselves at least 1 point for their honor. And Ukraine's Kirilo Manikov has 0 meeples to prevent that from happening, but another thing that he does have is 17 extra points on the scoreboard. He also has a city which is soon likely to be completed. Chila Vargo, of course, is trying to block, but Kirilo successfully connected to the city at the top. This is something that will not please any Hungarian fan here. I also just noticed that there's this field over here that Kirilo has the majority on. Yeah, and I think the main problem, as it is very often the case for Chila, is meeples. These here 2 guys are blocked. There is nothing that fits into this square. And in fact, Yellow doesn't have any way to get a meeple back without giving one to her opponent. Features on the board are being completed. Finally, Chila gets herself a meeple back, but she also gives one for Kirilo as well. Quick points are being scored by Blue. And finally, Yellow is going to score what? 3 points with her final meeple. This surely has to feel quite sad for her. There are a variety of ways to do that, with a 3-point city or a 3-point farm. It's a question of aesthetics. And Kirilo quite instantly takes the 4-point road, just to rub it in, winning the final coin flip for the more valuable tile. Congrats, says Chila. And the Ukrainian players win 5-0. Again, just steamrolling through the entire field. Honestly, like, if anybody can stop them, it's Poland. So unless they are scheduled to meet already in the semifinals, which I really don't hope is the case, then probably the final that we should see is Ukraine against Poland. So what else? Belgium has won against Czech Republic. This is quite interesting. So how were the results? Craft Giraffe learned to fly. Oh, learn to fly learned won against Posse 118. That's kind of a bit of an upset. But then on the other hand, Fabien Mouton losing on table 2 is also kind of an upset as well. Yeah, that's also must have been an interesting match too. Well, anyway, the semifinal is in about 45 minutes. Normally what I would do between games, I would do like analysis or recaps or stuff like this, but since it's going to be a rather long day, I'd rather just to take a lengthy break or take further questions. Oh yeah, I know. So one thing that we can do for 5 minutes before the semifinal match, let me just address one question which was in the chat a little bit earlier. So how are the Latvian players chosen? There's a big difference between the World Championship and the European Championship. For the European Championships, the national teams are much bigger. In fact, there's an upper threshold of 15 players. And so that way, the Latvian team was chosen very easily. So whoever was available for this particular weekend is just playing because... I mean, we have more than 15 players, of course, in the community, but to have everybody available to play on the same weekend is actually very, very difficult. And I think it's the case for many, many countries. Probably there are some exceptions like Ukraine or Spain. Yeah, Catalonia. The principle for Catalonia, they try to get as many new players as possible. With... Spain, I think it's something similar, but they just have a very, very high number of players. Some players, like maybe Romania, some teams like Romania have sort of a core 5, 6, 7 players which are the same, and then they experiment with 3 or 4 new ones whenever they can. In fact, this is what they did. Oh! So Craftraff is saying that the semifinals are in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Oh, so there are these long breaks. Okay, I need to improvise about this. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wrap up the stream and set up a new one. Because the break is too long and it's probably better for future viewers that the videos are separated. I think it's more interesting. So I'll take care of that in a bit. But to finish answer that question, so the situation for the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship is different because there are only 10 players allowed on the team, and also because it lasts several weeks rather than just one weekend. We have a system. So like if you win the national championships, if you win the national online championships, if your ELO is above a certain threshold, then you get into the team automatically. And in addition to that, for the remaining spots, they are open selection tournaments for anybody in the country. So this is how Latvia does it. Some countries have similar systems. Actually, most countries have similar systems. Maybe some countries only hold qualification tournaments without leaving any invitational spots. Some countries do only invitational spots, which has its advantages and disadvantages. Leads typically to a lot of drama and gossip and stuff like this. It's lovely. It's lovely. Lovely. I'm not going to name which countries I'm thinking about, but if you know, you know. Yeah, well, hopefully that answers your question. And then that's gonna be it. Just remember to maple the like button if you like this video, and in case you're here for the first time, subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this. I'ma see you in just under 2 hours. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you very soon.